Oh, okay, guys. Hi. Hi, everybody. This is our Zoom for demonstrating sweet and sour Balti with tofu. I've got a bunch of lovely people local in Colorado around behind me, so I'll be looking at them too. I am thrilled to be here. I've been cooking 40 years, first high school, taking home economics class. And I built up quite the collection of cookbooks that you can see back there. And along the way, when I was 28, I finished a PhD. PhD in laser atomic physics. A lot of you know that. Here it is. Here's the thing. This is the one. Different magneto-optical trap types. And it's about 141 pages, double spacing. And when I did not just the first edition 3 years ago, but a second edition of my cookbook where I got rid of all the errors from the first one, because I'm not the best editor, I realized I have put more time into this sucker than I had into my PhD. So, darn it, when I finished my PhD, I celebrated with Veuve Clicquot champagne. I had a big party because heck, it was a PhD. Well, this is another PhD. So I'm celebrating here with all my friends, and we're having some rosé bubbles, and we're going to do a recipe demo of one of the recipes in my cookbook, which features gluten-free, and on this occasion, a vegetarian version of a recipe. Cheers. Cheers. So this recipe, you want to start with the rice because you can overdo it. It's my favorite rice pan. Tight fitting lid. I like it's called japonica rice, Japanese rice. Indica rice like basmati Japanese. That's also wonderful. And you don't even have you don't even have to wash indica, but Japan rice is actually more starchy. So I'm going to go over here and give it a rinse. This is live. This is happening. This is how I do it. And what happens is that the rice kind of loosens out that outer layer of starch and the water goes cloudy. And I just drain that off so that I've gotten rid of kind of a first level of starch. Otherwise, it kind of gums up and sticks to the bottom of the pan, and we hate that. So now I add a second level of water, and I'm going to do my special, I have a special measurement system, my thumb. And I want, when I dip my thumb down, I want the water level to be just above my thumb cuticle. So I dip it in the water. I better check this because there's too many people looking and it better be right. Kosher salt. Put that in there. Slap the lid on. Asian myths say that evil spirits escape if you lift the lid to check how the rice is doing. So this lid's staying on. I'm going to put this rice on kind of a medium heat. If you start off hot, it's not going to be good for you or anyone else in your household. So what I want to do is leave it on a kind of a medium-ish heat, and then periodically come back and just kind of touch the lid to see if it's getting warm, which means steam is coming up and heating the lid. And then you want to turn it to low. If steam starts escaping, you turn it to off. Now, that is a set and forget for 15 minutes. So luckily, that gives me enough time to make the actual curry. So because I didn't want to bore you with all of the kind of chopping, I have done some kind of get things ready in place. And I also put the recipe down here so that I knew what I was doing. I use this recipe book a lot. So first thing I want to do is I want to make the paste. And I think I'll use this one. I have a set of metal balls you can bang around and they're great. So I want to put together some yogurt, plain Greek yogurt. I know for some of us who can't do dairy, this would be a problem. I would use something like coconut cream instead. Now I want some tomato paste, some as and I measured it out. I'm too excited. You'll have to get the cookbook to see how much. Mango chutney, which you can get at your local Safeway. And we're not talking the fancy store with the premium for, getting your special cut of filet mignon for $39. I shop at Safeway because there's no compromise about just getting a reasonable cheap supermarket ingredient meal. Now, let me check my recipe. Oh, now I need to add my powdered spices. And here I have some salt, some chili powder, and garam masala. And if you look at the first recipe in the Indian section, the yellow bordered cookbook, the recipe for garam masala is in the notes. And anyone want to smell the garam masala to see what it smells like? If you like spices, I'll leave it up here for you to take away. That's that. Garlic cloves. Now, the garlic cloves, I have some curry recipes that require something like 7 garlic cloves. And I don't know about you, but I hate peeling those little suckers. Those things, they take forever. They're fiddly, and then all the skins stick to your finger and then trail around the kitchen with you in an unpleasant way. So what I do is I have a special hammer. And I'll just show you. So you just give it a nice light tap, just a nice light tap. If you're angry, you might tap too hard. So just, don't feel garlic angry. But what you can see is that it just sort of comes off. And then if it doesn't come off at the first bit, I just chop kind of near the top bit. And look, I can just sort of roll it off there. And there it is. It's just done. And let me finish this one. My extremely scary 10-minute chef's knife, shun. It's the best Japanese. Get a knife like you mean it, and keep your friends closer and your enemies closer. So when you use something like this, it is best to pinch on the blade so that you have extra control of the knife. You know where this sword is going. And like I said to, was it John earlier, don't walk around knife first in the kitchen. So I keep it sort of down. Yeah, make sure I'm not, we'll do something insane there. Good. We're all safe. If you notice, I have all 10 of my digits here. I did not manage to chop any of these off in all the years that I've been cooking. I've been holding up the evidence. Kristen here is checking that I managed to achieve, cut-free life here. There we go. And another thing too, if you're tired or you're doing a lot of stuff, anything really essential, taking things in and out of the oven with the oven gloves, chopping a lot of vegetables, at certain points, just work slower. Don't be, trying to do anything too insane quickly when it comes to using the knife. So I want to just do it kind of the overhang. I had to put the chopping board up this high so you could actually see it, because the field of view of Zoom is somewhat narrow. So okay, here is garlic is ready. If you leave garlic out for 5-10 minutes, it adds to its extra healthy anti-disease properties. So, but we don't have time for that. So the garlic is going in. Garlic is going into the mix here, and I'm just going to mix that up. And then what I love about this, you just take basically all the things after the rice, before the tofu or chicken, and you just dump it in a pot like this. So now I have that ready. I'm going to get the heat on for my medium pot. This is a 5-quart saucier pot. I use it for everything because it is I'm a 1-pot meal kind of gal, along with the rice. I'm just checking the heat. The lid isn't quite hot enough yet, so I'm going to cheat. But I think it'll be okay. It'll be okay. Okay, now, so I've made that. Oh, you know what I could do in the meantime is I could chop my tofu. And I have drained it beforehand, my lovely tofu. And this is something you can use if you're a butterfly chicken as well. No fingers in front of the blade. So if anyone knows me from my master black belt days, mitten hands. So none of this. You want to flatten your hand out on the tofu. Keep it nice and flat. Then I can cut halfway down the tofu like this. See, I have them all still. Then I can cube, easy as. And that's New Zealand for really easy. I don't know. Because easy as, you can make that sound funny in America, and that sounds like easy ass. It's not bad. It's not bad. So let me get the tofu. Okay, I had a waiting bowl. There we go. That's pretty good. We have that. So let me go over here and just see how we're going. Just do another little tap. Oh, it's starting to warm up the rice. I can feel it kind of, yeah. So I'm going to turn that down kind of to lower, almost all the way low. And then the bubbling will stop and it'll be fine. Now, meanwhile, I have got, let me make sure I've got the right thing now. I'm too excited to read which burner I'm using. It's coming along. Now, what I want to do is put in some oil. I use peanut oil because of the high smoke point, but I do appreciate that there are healthier oils. This is a little high in omega-6. You can use avocado oil or coconut oil, but it has a nice high smoke point. It depends on how refined it is. I also have extra virgin olive oil, ready for quick draw in my kitchen. As you can see, I'm carefully measuring out 2 tablespoons. This is how it really cooks. So you might as well find out. Might as well find out. So I use my spatula so that I could just kind of scrape this all and dump it into the pot. Because what I want to do in a masala or kind of a spice mix in Indian curry, sometimes a version that's really good and they call for it is that you kind of heat it with oil a little bit to wake up the spices. So we've got a little bit of a sizzle gun here. I'm gonna put on my wonderful fan. I love my fan. I love my fan a lot. And I'm gonna give that a little bit of a stir. And you might not be able to see it, just kind of in the bottom there, the oil and the yogurt spice mix are kind of combining. People smell it. Getting up. Not all the way over to where Ben is. Getting there. And I think what I want to do is just wake it up a little bit for like a minute. Let me check. Stir and cook for 2 or so minutes. Then I'm going to add like a 2/3 cup water and the tofu. And then I get to just kind of let it go to a low heat and simmer for 10 minutes, which will give me time to make the side salad. Because this healthy, but it ain't exactly the most vegetable-y. So I make up for that with a broccoli salad. Let me just do a little bit more stirring here. Coming through. It's a very friendly recipe, and there's not a lot of heat in this particular base sauce. Where you get the heat from, it's going to be from Chili's. I like Serrano, but of course, Safeway being Safeway and me shopping for this party, I couldn't get Serrano. So I'm using Anaheim here. And I cut it into kind of slices so that if those who are less amenable to hot, you can pick those suckers out. Just, but we find it has a good balance. What I can see is the sauce. It's looking good. It's kind of starting to darken a little bit. And the oil's kind of mixed in with the sauce. The immiscibles become miscible. And I am going to add my water. And because that kind of immediately stops the simmering, I'm not gonna turn it down low just yet. I want to keep that medium heat on a little bit so that it can kind of come back up to a simmer. I'm gonna add my tofu. I'm gonna do my little sort of chef. This is a few things that we learned in chef school was the idea that you shaky, 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 and I'll say 2 hertz. 2 times a second. You know it, Krista. 2 times a second, and you stir at about 1/3 the hertz. And that is the quickest way to mix everything up. So that's pretty much, you know, the aromatic part. So I'll turn the fan off, and I'm just gonna let this simmer. And if you see, it's just kind of got a sauce and the tofu. And I think I'll just put the lid on and leave a little crack for the steam to escape. Ah, my rice pot's got a nice warm lid. There we go. All the way to low for you. And I'm looking for, sometimes you see a little teapot stream of steam. Turn it off and let it sit. My dad used to actually just take it off the heat and wrap it in the tea towel. Yeah, these great ceramic pots. And as you see, I don't have room for a rice cooker. So I just do it on the stovetop, and it works every time. Yep, thumb kugel, yep. Mark's reminding me, husband, yeah. So, meanwhile, and I remembered to put all the meanwhiles in my 2nd edition cookbook because I was a little sparse there on that. So while that's simmering, let's see, I do have just one more thing to kind of chop up, and that is the green chili and cilantro that I'll be adding later. So let's get our bunch of cilantro. I mean, there's some good vegetable type thing there. So I'm just gonna coarsely chop. I removed the bottom of the stems and gave it a good wash. And what I like to do is keep it pretty coarse so that it ends up, the stems actually have more peppery flavor. So I do like to use part of the stems as well. I just have to get them a little finely chopped so it doesn't end up being too vegetal. You know what? You know, I mean, I'm trying to make it pretty. See, I'm on the Zoom. So let's get our chilies. And because 10-inch, I can just put them together. The further out the chili you go, and the more kind of that white rind and chili seed you get, the hotter. So I've had jalapenos and serranos that have been mild through to they made me cry kind of thing. Anaheim is not as hot in my experience, but hell, there's no need to make anyone cry. So I'm gonna leave these aside so that we don't have to suffer. And if it's mild, see, I'm kind of picking it off the seed. If it's kind of mild, fine. You can always add a hot sauce to it. But I'm trying to make a kind of a guarantee to please no one recipe. No, for those of you who need hot, I have hot additives that you can have. So that's going to be ready. I've got my chilies and my cilantro, and after 10 minutes simmering, which I hopefully am timing well. Anyway, that will be it's simmering now. There we go. I'm going to turn that down low. Shaky, shaky. And let that kind of sit for a bit. Now, I want to make a broccoli salad as well. How are we doing on time? I think, you know, I'm going to have to pick up my game. So, to make the broccoli salad, it's really simple. All I gotta do is I have a microwavable container and I have chopped broccoli, and I just add a sprinkle of salt and a little bit of water. This much. And I'm gonna microwave this for 30 minutes. Meanwhile, I have a nice large metal bowl that I can do the mixing of this in. So what I do is I use I normally would finish the broccoli, but I know that Zoom is going to cut me off because this is the free kind of Zoom. So, never mind. I'll show you how to assemble it in a slightly less than ideal order. I've got some walnuts, and I would normally use dried cranberries or maybe some raisins or sultanas, but I thought I'm going to use about 4 chopped dates because just any kind of sweet dried fruit is fabulous in this meal. I'm now going to carefully measure out myself. My pepper. Agave syrup. Yeah, there we go. I've got that. What I need is some yogurt and a big spoon to toss with my broccoli. You know, you try to remember all the ingredients and all the equipment for your recipe. So, but this is good. Now, I'm going to carefully measure out my yogurt. I've got 1 head of broccoli. I think it's going to be. So let's hope that works. So that's kind of the measurements. Once the broccoli is done, I drain it, add it to this big ball of stuff, and I just toss it and mix it, and it is good to go. Now, ideally, I would drain the broccoli, put it in a huge metal bowl, and as we know from our physics, the large metal bowl will dissipate the heat faster. So that's why I like to use a large metal bowl for the broccoli salad. So otherwise, hot, slightly undrained broccoli makes the sauce kind of watery. So, how am I doing? I have 7 minutes. That's good. It's good. So I have this ready when the broccoli is. Oh my gosh. How long do you think we've been simmering for?
20 minutes.
Hmm?
Oh, simmering?
Yeah.
10.
Okay. So what I need to do, thank you, Kevin.
It's all right, I guess so.
I need to add my greenery. And this is a thing where you just, there it goes. This is, you kind of stir this in and let this kind of meld. And I also want to add some cream or half and half. So I'm gonna just again carefully measure. Okay. So this way, I tend to add cream stuff near the end because then it doesn't curdle, and you just kind of bringing it. Adding the cold stuff stops it from simmering, so that also protects it. And then we just kind of mix it all in, and I have it on kind of a medium-ish heat. I can smell the rice is steaming, so I just vertically turned off the rice burner. So that now, let that come back to a simmer, and my microwave is calling me. So let me go here. Drain. I bought this years ago from Pampered Chef. It's one of those ancient kind of safe plastic things. And now I can throw that into my bowl with the broccoli. I can do my tossing. And you can see, it would be better if the broccoli were cooler, but I did not account for thermodynamics in my 30 minutes. So, okay, it's a little runny, but It's worked out kind of nice, and this is just a lovely, sweet, just the tang of the broccoli complement to the sweet and sour Balti. And now I'm gonna show you the rice. Let's see if I manage to cook rice in front of 30 people. So it doesn't look very promising. It's kind of flat. But they'll have my special fluffer spoon from my dad. And what happens is I just leave the lid off and there's just a little extra water. Could have done with a little more, but you can see floppy comes out a treat. And when I do something like this where it's a little wet and gloppy, I leave the lid off until it's all good. So that is the recipe. So I have the rice steamed. I have the broccoli. Let's have a look. See how the curry turned out. You get that lovely punctuation of green from this, and it's kind of fresh, and yet it's kind of sweet and a little creamy with a half and half in the yogurt. And this will just come out a treat. I just spoon in the bowl some rice and some of this over the top and a little bit of broccoli on the side. So let me see, I have 3 minutes. There. Thank you.
So, I think it's wonderful, Anne-Marie, but you did forget one thing. There's something about Cointreau and tequila that you forgot.
Look, if I was taking it seriously, I've got my champagne. Bon appetit, Kevin. Bon appetit. So if you like what you see and you're interested in the cookbook, if you go onto the website, www.physicistcooks.com, all run together. The Shopify page will show you how you can buy the book, and if you're out of state, we can have it shipped to you. If you're in Colorado, you just have to pick it up so that I can avoid the sales tax destination sourcing. So yeah, I want to thank you all for watching this demo, and shortly we're going to be serving this up to those here live and in person. And thank you. Thank you. Hi, Ben. Yeah, great. So I'm gonna just leave this on the stove and let it just kind of keep simmering, let the rice, dry out a little bit. But otherwise, I have some bowls here and we can help ourselves to some curry. Great. And guys online, you know where to reach me if you have questions or comments. I'd love to hear from you. Joseph and Pete, to see you there. And I hope I can catch up with you later. Bye, everybody.